The Dan Townley Breakfast Show. Weekdays 8 till 10 on Six Towns Radio.
Joining me in the studio right now, opposite me, is, we spoke about this ages ago, going way back, right in the beginnings of the City of Culture bid, when I was going, why? And the man has proven why, and proven why Stoke-on-Trent should be the City of Culture. It's Mr. Paul Williams. Paul, thank you very much for joining me.
Good morning, Dan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It feels good to be back in my second home. And obviously this morning everybody's excited and elated and emotional that we finally get to submit our full bid to be UK City of Culture 2021.
How good is that to say?
It's, 2 years ago when the journey started, it seemed so far in the distance. It's been an incredible journey. It's been a journey that's brought so many people along with us. We've engaged and we've engaged and we've engaged, and in the early days, of course, people didn't understand what city culture as a competition was all about and what it could do for the city, so that was part of the journey at that particular time. I think more people do know now. We've still got more work to do, we're under no illusions, but it just feels great to say our bid is in. It's a compelling bid. We've made the best possible case for Stoke-on-Trent to be the next City of Culture, and hopefully the judges will agree come December.
So when we first spoke, it was a case of we wanted to be shortlisted, and then when we got shortlisted, I think I'm forgiven for getting a tiny bit giddy during that. I was like, yes, I was shaking with pure joy. Now this is, you said the real work was up to this final bid, and obviously the team, the judging panel come to Stoke. When is that going to happen?
Okay, as you said, and I think the words I used when I was last in here, we have to play the game smart, and playing the game smart was not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Making the shortlist was the priority in the early days. Once we were shortlisted, we then look about the full and final bid. That's in. We've already been planning for a representation. It's not all 8 of the judges or the independent advisory panel, to give them their proper name. It's not all 8 of them that will be visiting. It will be a selection of them. We expect them to come to see us on the 17th of October. And then the day after, we will also be visited by the BBC network in full. So there's quite a lot happening that we have to plan for. Having said that, we also have to plan for the visit to Hull on the 6th and the 7th of December, when we will have to do a presentation, and the judges will drill us down on the detail around the bid. They'll want to know that what we put in there is not just ambitious but realistic, and we have the evidence to show that the conversations we said we've initiated have started to develop, that we have the funding in place to deliver the world-class programme that we've set out, and it's that sort of that ultimately determines whether or not you get to be City of Culture.
It's the kind of the support that the bid has got. It kind of started off, it was a bubbling under kind of effect where people were a bit confused as to why now, why Stoke, why us. I think they were the main questions that were being asked when the bid came out. Now it's a case of why not us, why not Stoke, and that's a big part of you and your team that has instilled this kind of confidence without going, we can actually do it. Is you've just shown Stoke what we have to offer, and through the events that you guys have put on, through the events that Appetite have put on, how important are events like that, and are they going to continue if we're not successful?
Well, they're incredibly important, and as you say, we're having conversations the like of which we just didn't have a couple of years ago. There are more of them, and they're happening in places that you would not normally expect them to happen, and that is a sign of a confident, of an aspirational city and its people. So the events that we need to continue, you mentioned Appetite. I'm under no illusions. We wouldn't be in a position to bid without Appetite being as successful as it has. There's some great culture in this city, but really Appetite has shown people what we can do if we get together and we all pull in the right direction. Part of the next couple of months in the build up to December is really having conversations with the judges. And we do that through social media and other media outlets. We do that through forums and networks. We do that through meetings that people across the city will be attending. I've heard of one of the judges who was in Stoke last week visiting one of our major ceramic attractions. Well, what we now need to do is, when the next judge visits an attraction such as that, somebody there is bigging up the city and bigging up the culture bid, and actually sort of starting to get the message to the judges before they get to see us in Hull in December. So we've got a whole series of campaigns. We're serious about engaging with the community. We've said it on a number of occasions. It's hard work. 250, 260,000 people across the city region take some doing to engage with. We'll start another campaign early next week, which is very much about recreating the face of Stoke-on-Trent. I don't really want to give too much about that out at the moment, because we need to celebrate launching or submitting the bid today, but more will happen over the course of the next week. It'll be an opportunity for everybody to really get their own personal facial image part of an art installation that amazingly will be located in its position in Stoke just prior to us going up to Hull in December.
With the original, so the first bid which got us shortlisted for the City of Culture, there was a celebration in the city centre. Is this something that's going to happen with the celebration? Obviously today the bid has been sent off into space. Is there a big celebration type event planned?
We looked at that, and of course there is good value in having that type of event, but inevitably it locates itself in one city, and invariably that could be the city centre. We took the view that what we wanted to do was to have a series of celebrations which were more community engaged and community wide, and that's the approach we're taking. So you'll see more stuff happening in the communities rather than the focus being on one event in one place at one time. There will be other opportunities to celebrate in that way. I think what we have to do now is just to get out and about and bring more people on board, so that more people can actually say, I was part of that installation, I was part of that bid, I made a difference. And who knows, somebody out there could be the little difference. In the shortlisting stage, it's fine marginal lines that will make the difference between us and the other four cities, and those fine lines are out there. It's the people of the city and the difference that they will make, so that's what we'll be doing.
It's not too late to back the bid, is it? So the submission is in, but it's never too late to back the bid, apart from taking part in the installation, which is going to happen. How else can people back the Stoke-on-Trent for City of Culture bid?
There are other events and other activities planned throughout the course of the next few months that were programmed in anyway. The British Ceramics Biennial is on at the moment. That's a 6-week ceramics exhibition. Go down and have a look at what's happening there. There's other events taking place in some of our major attractions. Go and support them. I noticed when I walked in here, Pot Boiler Theatre have got their next production or being advertised. Go and support the culture that's already here, and when you're supporting it, recognise what you're doing, and then sort of get the message out there that you're backing attractions, you're backing events, you're backing activity, you're backing the bid.
For you personally, let's talk about, because we said before you're the most modest man that I think I've ever met, and you're shaking your head now, but for you personally, who you had this idea with Abby Brown, and there's a few other people, but you were part of that original team. From those original conversations, which must have sounded absolutely crazy at the time, to now, what does it mean to you looking back through this whole process at where we are right now?
Okay, you've mentioned my role, and in some ways, I may have lit the cultural touch paper, and that sparked interest, and that was needed. But there have been, and I know I keep saying it, there are so many people who have made this happen. On a personal level, when early days, when people were saying City of Culture, Stoke-on-Trent, are you serious? Having to convince people then, and now I know that if we say City of Culture and Stoke-on-Trent, people understand it and get it. That for me means a lot. I no longer have to say to the people of Stoke-on-Trent, you can do it. You are already a City of Culture. No other city none of the other shortlisted candidate cities can lay claim to the fact that they have exported their fantastic culture, their amazing works of art around the globe for 300 years. We are a city of culture. We just need the judges now to recognise that and award us the right to host the UK City of Culture in 2021. At a personal level, that just says that we've convinced the people of this city that they should be proud, they should be confident, they should raise their ambitions, and they have raised their ambitions, and that is pleasing.
The positivity around the city as well, I think you touched on it, the positivity just in general from when we first had this discussion 2 years ago to now. It's a completely different city, and at the time when we put in the original bid, which led us to being shortlisted, the positivity around the city centre when there was the event and around the other towns, it was something, and a lot of people have said this, that they've not felt in this city since being here, and that obviously it's a massive thank you to the City of Culture bid, bringing that city together. How important is it now that we move on as, whilst we celebrate the 6 towns, but we move on as one city? How is that important to you?
We are a city, and we are a uniquely polycentric city. And one of the things that I was pleased that the judges recognise is what makes us 6 towns, 1 city, we've used as a strength in the bid. So I think it is important. I've lost track when I've travelled around the world and I say, people ask me where I come from and I say Stoke-on-Trent. Where is Stoke-on-Trent? Increasingly, we don't have to say we are that place that's somewhere between Manchester and Birmingham. People know Stoke-on-Trent for what it is, for what it does, for its Premier League football team, for so much else that is going on in this city. And I think collectively we have raised the city's profile. We must continue to do that. That is important. As you say, you've talked about positivity. I talk up the city and I talk up the city's cultural offer. That is what I do. That's my game. You had Anna Francis in here a little earlier today. Anna Francis does culture, and she does it incredibly well. And there are so many more people like Anna who are part of the reason why we're all positive and upbeat. And we just, I keep saying it. It feels like Stoke's time, and I genuinely believe that. Come what may, whatever happens in December in Hull with the judges, it still feels like Stoke's time. Don't lose it. Let's build on it.
Paul Williams, thank you very much for popping into the studio. I'm sure we'll see you again closer to the time of the announcement. As you said, it's your second home. To find out more information, just go onto social media, search for Stoke-on-Trent for City of Culture 2021. There's only one song that we could have played to finish this interview. It's now been described as almost the national anthem for the City of Culture bid. It's Merriman with A Up Awat A Rate.
A up awat a rate, me old, I'm sound, cheers, Doctor, mate. A up awat a rate, me old, I'm sound, cheers, Doctor.